Hey guys, how are you today? Quick rant before we dive into today's chaos. As some of you might have noticed, YouTube's algorithm has decided I'm not special anymore. Shocking, I know. So now if you don't like, comment, or do a little backflip in the algorithm's honor, this video might just vanish into the void, never to be seen again. Seriously though, even a hi or "this is wild" in the comments helps way more than you think. It tells YouTube, hey, people actually like this channel. Maybe don't hide it from everyone. That can really help push my videos out to a wider audience, not just to my subscribers. So if you enjoy these stories and want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. Now grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy the drama. You won't want to miss this one. 6 years ago, my parents kicked me out of the house when I was 18 because they found out that my grandfather had left me a trust fund, and they wanted me to share that with my golden child of a brother. But I refused. My grandfather had passed away just a few years before that, and he had left the trust fund to me as a surprise that I found out about on my birthday. So I was very happy. But that did not last for long because just a couple of weeks after my birthday, my parents reached out to me, and they told me that I needed to share the trust fund money with my brother, because that way they would be able to cover the cost of sending him to college without much difficulty. At 18, I had chosen not to go to college and take a gap year to figure out what I wanted to do. So, it's not like I did not need the money from the trust fund for myself. I did need it, and I would need it in the future next year when I started college. And of course I had to decline because I needed the money for myself and my future. And I think my brother had enough. My parents were not poor or anything. They could totally afford to send my brother to college if they wanted to. They had their own business. They had been running it for a while, and it did decently enough for them not to need extra help from anyone else. So, I don't understand why they were asking me, and why they got so offended when I declined. But anyway, they were very upset when I refused, and we had a very ugly fight after which we haven't spoken. My brother is 2 years younger than I am, and even he hasn't spoken to me, which is not surprising because of course he's a puppet for my parents. At least he used to be back when we were on speaking terms. We never got along well, and that was a part of the reason why I did not want to share my trust fund with him, because I don't even like the guy, and my parents always preferred him. They always treated him better, and he got most of the attention, and I always felt like he was more spoiled and better taken care of than I am. And during the last conversation, the fight that we had, I accused my parents of preferring him over me, and they tried to gaslight me into believing that that was not the case. But I'm not a fool. For ages, that's how it had been. So, I knew what the reality was, and I was not falling for the lies. They also accused me of several things. They accused me of being selfish, not caring about the family, basically just trying to make me feel guilty for looking out for myself. But I knew that if I didn't, nobody else would. I don't have the same kind of parents that my brother did, because with me they were completely different people. So I knew that what I was doing was best for me in the long run, and it has been. I have never regretted not letting go of that money ever since. I got a college education, got my business degree, and have been working in a moderately successful company for a while now. I don't have any contact with my parents. I do see them at family events and stuff, but we don't speak to each other, and pretty much everyone knows that we don't have a good relationship. So nobody talks to me about them either. But lately, I have been hearing rumors from my cousins that my family has not been doing well financially. Apparently, after the pandemic, the business has not really been able to take off the way it was supposed to, and it's been quite difficult for them. On top of that, my brother doesn't really help out much either. He graduated from college this year, and since then he has made absolutely no attempts to find a job. He's just been sitting at home, and all he does is hang out with his friends, go out partying and drinking. Even though from what I've heard, he's been engaged for a month or two with his high school girlfriend. At least that's what I've been hearing from other people. And a couple of days ago, my mom confirmed it for me. So apparently my brother has really screwed things up for them with just one decision, and my mom called me up to inform me about it a couple of days back. She called me from a new number because I had blocked all of them. And when I picked up, she immediately started crying and apologizing, telling me that she was really sorry about everything that had happened in the past, and that she just wanted to put everything aside and ask me for some help. She explained the situation to me. Basically, she and my dad have been trying to get my brother's girlfriend's dad to help them out in the business. So, here's the thing. My brother has been dating this girl since he was in his senior year of high school. They've been together throughout college, even though she went to college out of state, and they were doing the long-distance thing and made it work. And about 2 months ago, he proposed. They got engaged, but her father was not happy about the fact that he was unemployed. And he spoke to my parents about it. And my parents decided to manipulate him and got him to agree to invest in their business so that they could get it back to a good position. And then they promised him that they were going to talk to their son, and the business making a comeback would be the incentive for their son to join them and start working for them. And this way, everyone would be happy whether her father liked it or not. For whatever reason, my brother's girlfriend is fully in love with him, and she would never let him go, not even if her father disapproved of him. So that was the arrangement. My brother's future father-in-law was going to invest in the business, bring it back to a respectable position, and then my brother was going to start working with my parents, and eventually he was going to inherit the business. This way, he would have a stable job in the future, and my parents would also be able to make their business work. And plus, he and his fiancée would also be happy because there would be no problems with her father. It was a win-win situation for everyone. But, of course, my brother had to go out of his way to screw everything up for everyone, because just a couple of days ago, his fiancée ended up breaking off the engagement, because no matter how much a woman loves another guy, I don't think anybody in their right mind is going to stay with a guy who has been cheating on her for God knows how long. And it's a huge loss for him. I have to say that because this girl was willing to fight her dad for him, even though he was pretty much up to no good and was just another unemployed loser. But she fought for him. And yet, that was not enough for him to stay loyal to her. Apparently, a couple of days back, she decided to go through his phone because she had been having doubts for a couple of days before that. Pretty much ever since they got engaged. And that's how she found out that he had several dating apps on his phone. He was talking to multiple women at a time, and he was in touch with a bunch of girls that he used to go out with when he was in college. So this was not a recent development. He had been cheating on her ever since he left for college. Of course, that was the end of the relationship. She called off the engagement, and even the investment is off now, which is a huge problem for them because my parents had jumped the gun. And as soon as they had a verbal agreement with the girl's father, they immediately went out of their way to spend a bunch of money and put it into the business because they were counting on the investment coming through. Now that that's not happening, they have spent a bunch of money for no reason. And they're trying to convince my brother to go back to his fiancée and apologize and get her to come back, but he has refused to do so. And now they need my help because somehow they have to keep going, and they need money for that. So they are counting on me. And that's why my mom even called me in the first place, because she didn't know what else to do. And I told her that there's nothing I can do for her because they've really screwed up. Most importantly, I don't have anything to do with them. I haven't had anything to do with them for a long time. So, there's no point in calling me. She tried to talk to me, but I hung up and then I blocked her. And since then, a lot of people from the family have reached out to me, trying to tell me that they really want to sort things out with me and that they really need my help. But I don't feel obliged to talk to them or even help them out because all my life they've never treated me as a priority. And right now, I don't have to do the same for them either. So, am I an a-hole for refusing to help my family with their finances? Not the o-hole. They didn't make a mistake 6 years ago. They showed OP exactly who they were. They tried to steal OP's inheritance, kicked OP out when OP said no, and only remembered OP existed once their golden child imploded their backup plan. OP is not a financial safety net, and OP is definitely not responsible for cleaning up her brother's mess. And now let's hear community's opinion. Not the a-hole. Your parents gambled on your brother twice, first with your trust fund, now with someone else's investment, and lost both times. That's not bad luck. That's a pattern. They enabled him, excused his behavior, and expected other people to fund the consequences. You walked away, built a life, and now they want to cash in on your success. Absolutely not. Not the a-hole. Notice how the apology only appeared once money was involved. No attempt at reconciliation when you graduated. No repair work over 6 years. No accountability. Just tears when the business collapsed. Also, the fact they tried to manipulate the fiancé's father instead of holding your brother accountable tells you everything. If you give them money now, You'll be funding denial and dysfunction, not helping. Not the a-hole. Keep them blocked. If you want to feel generous without sacrificing your peace, you could offer non-financial help, like sending them resources for business restructuring or telling them to consult a financial advisor. But do not hand over cash. They didn't protect you when you were 18. You don't owe them protection now. Your grandfather left that trust to you for a reason. Update 1. Hey, so it's been a few days since my post here, and I would just like to thank everybody who took the time to comment. Thank you so much. It really validated my decision, because I have stuck to it, and I'm not talking to them. It was very hurtful when they kicked me out, and even though I pretended that it didn't matter much, that was not the case. It was really bad, and it took me years to get over it. While we were fighting for the last time all those years ago, it did get pretty intense and ugly. But never had I ever imagined that they would literally ask me to get out of their house if I was not going to share the trust fund. And that has stuck with me. I can never forget about that. So no matter how much trouble they are in right now, that is something that they're going to have to deal with themselves. Because when I was emotionally in a tough spot, they never cared for me. They never even bothered to reach out to me even once over the past 6 years, to ask me how I was doing, to ask me what I was up to. I have just never mattered to them. For them, all that mattered was my brother, and that I can see very clearly. And as for the rest of my family, I don't even know why they expect me to help out my parents. Everyone knows that we do not have a good relationship. Everyone knows what went wrong, so I don't think I owe anybody an explanation. If other people are inclined to help them, then they should probably get involved in it themselves, instead of expecting me to do anything right now. After I blocked them, nobody has tried to contact me so far. But that has not stopped other people from the family from reaching out to me over and over again, telling me that my family needs me and that I should put everything behind me so that I can have a fresh start with them. I don't know if my parents or my brother have probably put them up to this, which I really don't understand because it's not like I'm going to buckle under pressure and support them. If anything, it's going to turn me against them even more because they are involving other people in this. And I really don't like that. I can feel the fact that they are trying to pressure me into helping them out. And it just seems really unfair because people should know my side of the story as well. They should know my side of things. They should know why exactly I'm choosing not to help them. And I have made up my mind. If things get out of control, then I'm definitely not going to mince any words. If things get too much for me to handle, and if too many people start trying to guilt trip me, then I'm definitely going to go public with this and make sure that people know that I'm not going to take it. So far, it has not reached that point yet. I'm still tolerating things, and I'm hoping that people in the family will realize that I have my side of things too, and I don't want to get into this mess. I've just been ignoring everyone because I don't want to be rude, and I don't want to fight with anyone. I just hope that they take the hint, and they don't bother me anymore. I'm lucky that so far nobody I actually like from the family has bothered to get involved in this, because I think they know that I don't want to be a part of this mess. It's mostly people who are very close to my parents. And of course, it was expected from them that they would harm themselves and not me. And it's not like people only have a vague idea about what went down with me and my family. Like I had said in the beginning, people know exactly what had happened, because my parents themselves had gone around talking about it, trying to paint themselves as the victims. So it's not like this situation is happening for the first time. The exact situation had taken place 6 years back too, when we first fought. They had spoken to everyone and told them whatever had happened, and made me the bad guy. And even back then, people had told me to make things right with my family. Even now, the same thing is happening, so I'm literally having deja vu. But anyway, the point is I'm not going to back down. I hadn't given in to the pressure last time, and I'm definitely not going to do so this time either. Update 2. So it's been 3 days since my last update, and last evening, my mother showed up to meet me. So far, it's only been my mom who's been trying to get in touch with me, and I think there is a reason for it. I'm not too sure of it, but back when we were on talking terms, even though I did not have a good relationship with my family, I did have a soft corner for my mom. And I can say that compared to my father and my brother, I only had a decent relationship with my mom, even though she was just as biased as Dad towards my brother. It was bad, but it was not as bad as my relationship with my father. So I think it was for that reason that she's the only one who's been getting in touch with me. Anyway, when she showed up, I let her in. But I told her that if she was here to ask for my help and to demand that I get back in touch with everybody from the family, then there was no point, and she might as well go back now because I was not going to do it. I was not going to bow down to anybody else's wishes, especially when none of them had ever cared for me so far. I don't feel obliged to do anything, and I got that out of the way right in the beginning. She heard me out, and she told me that she could understand my feelings, and she agreed with it, because if she were in my place, then she would have probably reacted the same way. She told me that she was only here to apologize wholeheartedly for everything that they had put me through. And she said they knew that they had been terrible to me as a family, and they really wanted me to know that they were suffering the consequences of it, because apparently my parents believed that this was their karma. Now, my mom told me that things have been very bad for the past couple of weeks, and they have been regretting everything that they put me through. So she was here to apologize, and at least get me to talk to them, even if I don't help them out financially. She told me that my dad really wants to talk to me, and she was here to ask me over for dinner in the next few days, and she wanted to see me in person as well, because she felt like certain things had to be discussed in person. So I asked her to go ahead, and she said a lot of things which I'll get to. First off, she told me that she was really sorry about the fact that she and my father had always prioritized my brother over me. And it felt good to hear her acknowledge it for the first time. Because all along I had been told that I was just imagining things, that there was nothing of the sort, and that they loved us both equally and treated us both equally. But now the truth was finally out. They had always been partial towards my brother. They had always treated him better than me, and it felt quite vindicating to hear her say it out loud. She also told me that my father wanted me to know that he was too ashamed to show himself, which is why he had not visited. And he was actually the one who believed that this was their karma for treating me so badly all these years, and never even bothering to check up on me in the past 6 years. He wanted me to know that he was also very apologetic, and that he would like nothing better than to get back in touch with me and repair our relationship, because he knew that he had really messed things up, but he wanted to make it right again. And once again, they reiterated the fact that they did not need any sort of financial help from me. They did not expect it from me either, and they just wanted to repair things with me because they felt bad about everything that had gone down so far. She also told me that my brother was not speaking to the family anymore because they had had a huge fight and moved out to stay with a couple of friends, and that made a lot of things make sense. So I asked her if they were just trying to get back in touch with me because now they knew that things with my brother had gone down pretty badly, and since they were not on talking terms, they needed at least one son to be there for them. So I was their backup child. It felt quite insulting, and she tried to tell me that that was not the case, but I knew that this was exactly what was going on. I also told her that I did not like the fact that my dad had sent her to apologize on behalf of them both, because it just felt really impersonal and weird. It was one thing that he was too ashamed to show himself or whatever, but even then, he should have at least tried. If he was really sorry, and if he meant his apology, then he should have shown up for me. This was the one time that they could actually be there for me and show me that they were sorry. And even now, they were screwing it up for themselves. I told her that I did not think that he was too ashamed. I thought he was too proud to apologize in person. And I was not going to accept a half-hearted apology like this. I told her that I was very grateful that she had at least shown up and tried to talk to me. But then I didn't know whether I wanted to get back to them right now or not. I told her that there were a lot of things that had happened in the past 6 years, and I've learned to live without them. Besides, I don't even know if this is all genuine or not, and I don't want to get back in touch with them, start trying to fix our relationship, and then find out that they were only trying to use me as a placeholder for the son that they actually preferred. Because, let's be real, they only got in touch with me because they were fighting with my brother. And I was not going to be treated like that. Even now, when they were trying to make things up to me and be apologetic, they were still treating me like a second-class citizen. It did not seem fair to me. And to be very honest, I'm pretty much used to spending my life without them by now. It has been 6 years, and in these 6 years, I have grown a lot as a person. I have my own life. I have my friends. I have my own things going on. I don't feel the need to accept their apology, and I'm completely fine with not fixing my relationship with them. I told my mother that I did not want anything to do with them at this point, and that I was not interested in coming over for dinner or anything else. I was very polite about it, and I tried my best to be nice about it. But my mom started crying and she started accusing me of not caring about them at all. She said that she had found it very hard to come to me and apologize in person. But even then she had done it, and the least I could do was at least entertain the idea of trying to fix things with them. But I couldn't even commit to that. I didn't like that. So I told her that I did not want to waste more of our time because I had already made up my mind. I did not want to fight with her, and I did not want to see her crying. So I comforted her for a bit, but then I told her that she had to leave, and eventually she did leave. But she told me that she was very disappointed in my behavior and that she was even more disappointed that this is how little I thought of them. I didn't say anything, but in all honesty, it was their own fault. They had taught me what kind of people they were. So they cannot blame me for believing them and thinking little of them. They need to realize that what is happening right now is their own fault. And that's it. I'm not the villain here, and I will refuse to be made to feel like one anymore. Update 3. So, it's been a couple of weeks since I spoke to my mom, and after that, the family members who had been reaching out to me, trying to get me to talk to my parents, literally doubled down on their efforts. And at that point in time, I became even more sure of the fact that my parents had put them up to this. They were only trying to use the family and guilt trip me into talking to them again. Eventually, I'm pretty sure their plan was to improve their relationship with me just slightly, and then they would ask for the money. Unfortunately, though, that's not going to work for them because I'm not going to give in to any pressure. Like I had said before, I don't care. I'm only looking out for myself because I know that they definitely are not. And I have had enough over the past couple of weeks. I've really had enough of my family trying to manipulate me and the rest of my relatives trying to force me to do something that I'm really not willing to do. So, in the past few days, whenever any of my relatives have texted me, trying to tell me that what I'm doing is not right, and that I should take this opportunity and make the most of it, and all that stuff, I responded to them and I told them that I have made up my mind, and I don't want to drag this out. And so, I would really appreciate it if they stayed out of it, because I don't want to get into any ugly spat with the rest of the family over this. Most people have been understanding about it. They did not try further. But some of them who are close to my parents and are very stubborn have argued with me and picked fights, but I've not entertained it. I've just blocked them because I don't need this kind of crap in my life. If I'm being honest, the people that I'm cutting out of my life right now, I don't even care about them much. They are the older generation of the family, and since they're close to my family, I don't want anything to do with them. The younger ones, my cousins, they're all on my side, and in fact, they have even shared some interesting details with me. Like, for instance, my mom had been lying about the fact that they're not speaking with my brother anymore because he's still staying with them, and he hasn't even moved out or whatever. I don't know why they would lie to me, because it's not as if I wouldn't have found out eventually. Given the situation, if I agreed to come over for dinner, then I would obviously have found out. And most apparently, it's not like I have a problem with my brother more than I have a problem with them. They needed to realize the fact that it was they who were the bigger problem, not my brother. Of course, I didn't like my brother much, but that was a byproduct of the way that I was treated by my parents. It was not inherently on him. I don't understand how that is such a difficult thing to get. More importantly, the fact that they lied to me just took away the little credibility that they had. It just made me realize the fact that I had done the right thing by not forgiving them and not getting back in touch with them, because eventually they were just going to use me for their own gain. And I'm pretty sure that they did not mean their apology or whatever either. So, I'm very glad that I did not forgive them. I don't know if my mom actually meant anything that she said, but I'm pretty sure that my dad didn't, which is probably why he didn't even bother to show up. I think this is good for all of us, quite frankly. I don't want them in my life, and I'm sure that they don't want me. They only needed my help, but that's not what they're getting. So, in a way, it's good that all of us know each other's true faces. And I'm pretty sure that after this, they're not going to try and get back in touch with me anyway.